Dr. Kyle Vorthok pressed his crystal hand against the cool metal of the observation deck. His ship, the Enlightened Pursuit, moved slowly through the darkness of space. Stars dotted the black sky like tiny diamonds. He had been studying new worlds for over 300 years, but today felt different. "We are close to the Sol system," said Professor Yila Morveth. Her blue skin shimmered under the ship's lights. Water droplets covered her neck gills as she breathed. "The third planet shows signs of life." Commander Zeph Corvain clicked his insect-like mandibles together. His 6 eyes focused on the data screens. "Basic scans show they have split the atom. They also have simple rockets. Level 3 civilization, as expected." Kyle nodded. Level 3 was normal. Most species reached this point after thousands of years of slow growth. They would study these creatures for a few months, add them to the galactic database, and move on. Simple work. The ship's computers hummed as they collected more information. Images appeared on the main screen. Blue and green swirled together on the planet's surface. White clouds drifted across vast oceans. It looked peaceful. "What do they call themselves?" Yila asked. "Humans," Kale replied, reading from his crystal tablet. "They live on most of the planet. Cities cover the land masses. Population is about 8 billion. Zeph's antennae twitched. 8 billion? That seems high for level 3. Kale looked closer at the data. Most level 3 species had populations of 1 or 2 billion. 8 billion meant these humans were very good at staying alive. He made a note in his files. The first week passed quietly. The alien scholars watched human cities from far away. They saw flying machines cross the skies. Ships moved across the oceans. Lights covered the night side of the planet like a web. "They are very active," Yila observed. She studied pictures of human gatherings. "Look at these sporting events. Millions. Watch other humans compete." Kale examined the images. Humans filled huge structures to watch others run, jump, and play with balls. They cheered and shouted together. Their emotions ran high over simple games. "Odd behavior," Zeph muttered. "Most species focus on survival and basic needs at this stage." But as the days went by, the scholars found more strange things. Human cities never truly slept. Lights stayed on through the night. Vehicles moved constantly. Information flowed through invisible networks that covered the entire planet. Yila discovered something that made her gill slits flutter with worry. "Look at their history files," she said. "They have survived multiple extinction events." Kale's crystal body grew cold as he read. Massive rocks from space had hit the planet. Ice ages had covered the land. Volcanoes had blocked out the sun. Each time, life on the planet nearly ended. But humans were not even around for most of these events. "Wait," he said. "These extinction events happened before humans existed. But look at this." He pointed to more recent data. "They survived a massive plague just 200 years ago, lost 1/3 of their population. Then they grew back stronger than before." Zeph clicked his mandibles nervously. In his experience, species that survived extinction events became very dangerous. They learned to fight for survival at any cost. The second week brought more disturbing discoveries. Professor Yila found records of human conflicts. Wars had raged. Across the planet for thousands of years, humans fought with sticks, then metal, then explosives that could destroy entire cities. "They never stop fighting," she whispered. "Even now, small conflicts happen in dozens of places." But something else puzzled her. While humans fought wars, they also built beautiful art. They wrote music that stirred emotions. They created stories that lasted for generations. They studied the stars and built machines to explore space. "How can they be so violent and so creative at the same time?" Yila asked. Dr. Kyle had been studying human biology. What he found made his crystal form dim with fear. "Their bodies are built for hunting," he said. "Forward-facing eyes for tracking prey, strong muscles for long chases. They can run for hours without stopping. He showed them images of human anatomy. Look at their teeth. Some for cutting meat, others for grinding plants. They eat anything. Their stomachs can process almost any organic matter. Commander Zeph studied the data with growing alarm. Persistence hunters, he said quietly. They chase prey until it dies from exhaustion. Very few species develop this trait. The third week revealed the most shocking discovery. Humans had spread across their entire planet. They lived in frozen wastelands and burning deserts. They survived in mountains where the air was thin and in caves deep underground. No other species does this, Kyle said, his voice shaking. Most stay in one climate zone. Humans adapt to everything. Yila found records of human exploration. They had traveled to every corner of their world. They dove to the bottom of their deepest oceans. They climbed their highest mountains. Some even lived in space stations above their planet. They treat their entire world as their territory, she said. Not just parts of it, all of it. But the worst discovery came when Commander Zeph analyzed their technology growth. Human advancement had been slow for thousands of years. Then suddenly it exploded forward. In just 300 years, they went from riding animals to flying through space, he said. Their technology growth is accelerating. This rate of change is impossible. The scholars gathered in the main conference room. The weight of their discoveries pressed down on them like a heavy blanket. We need to report this to the Galactic Consortium, Zeph said. These humans are not a normal level 3 species. Dr. Kale's crystal body pulsed with nervous energy. What do we tell them? That we found a species that refuses to die? That they adapt to anything? That they treat their entire world as their hunting ground? Professor Yila's gills fluttered rapidly. We tell them the truth. These humans survived everything their planet threw at them. They never stopped fighting, never stopped growing, never stopped exploring. The three scholars looked at each other with growing dread. In all their centuries of study, they had never found a species like this. Humans were not just survivors. They were something far more dangerous. They were a species that viewed the entire universe as their natural home. Captain Lee Do-yun floated through the corridor of Earth Defense Station Olympus. His magnetic boots clicked against the metal floor as he moved toward the command center. Outside the windows, Earth hung like a blue marble against the black of space. "Captain, we have a problem," said Lieutenant Park Somi as he entered the room. Her fingers danced across the control screens. "The Mars colony is sending distress signals. Their life support is failing." Do-yun studied the data flowing across. The main display. Colony 7 sat on the red planet's surface, home to 3,000 people. Their air recyclers had broken down. Without repair, everyone would die within 72 hours. "How long to reach them?" he asked. 18 hours at maximum burn," replied Engineer Kim Tae-won from his station. "But, sir, we would use all our fuel. We might not make it back." The command center fell silent. Everyone knew the risks. Space. Travel was dangerous. Ships broke down. People died. But leaving the colonists was not an option. "Prep the rescue ships," Do-yun ordered. "All of them." Meanwhile, far above Earth's orbit, the alien scholars watched everything. Dr. Kale had placed listening devices near the human space stations. He translated their conversations with growing confusion. "They are risking their lives for others," he told Professor Yila. "The rescue has a low chance of success. Logic says they should abandon the colony." Yila's gills fluttered as she processed this information. In her species, individuals were valued, but not at such cost. The needs of many always came before the needs of few. But humans seem to follow different rules. Perhaps they calculate differently, she suggested. Maybe they see benefit we do not understand. Commander Zeph clicked his mandibles. "No, I have studied their mathematics. They know the risks. They choose to take them anyway. The alien scholars watched as human rescue ships launched from multiple stations. Each ship carried supplies and crews. They burned fuel at dangerous rates, pushing their engines beyond safe limits. Captain Do-hyun's ship, the Valor, led the small fleet. Inside, his crew worked without rest. Dr. Park Somi had designed new air filters in just 6 hours. They were untested, but they might work. How did she create this so quickly? Kale asked, studying the human technology. Our people would need months to design such systems. Engineer Kim Tae-won made the situation worse for the alien observers. In 12 hours, he had modified the rescue ship's engines. The changes allowed them to carry more supplies while using less fuel. Impossible, Zeph muttered. He just redesigned their propulsion system during the flight. Our engineers would need years of testing, but the humans were not done surprising them. As the rescue fleet approached Mars, they discovered another problem. A solar storm was building. Radiation would make the rescue dangerous for everyone involved. They should turn back, Yila said. The radiation will kill them. Instead, the humans did something unexpected. Admiral Cho Na-yoon, commanding from Earth, ordered other ships to create a radiation shield. They positioned themselves between the rescue fleet and the solar storm, using their own hulls as protection. They are sacrificing ships to save people, Kale whispered. They treat every individual life as precious. The rescue succeeded. All 3,000 colonists were saved. The humans lost 2 ships and 17 crew members, but they celebrated the mission as a victory. While the aliens tried to understand human behavior, something else was happening. Engineer Kim's modified sensors had detected unusual energy signatures near Jupiter. The readings were faint, but they did not match any known natural phenomena. Admiral, Kim reported to Cho Na-yoon, I think we have visitors. Admiral Na-yoon studied the data from her command center on Earth. Her experience in space defense had taught her to trust unusual readings. For 20 years, Earth had been preparing for this moment. Activate Protocol 7, she ordered quietly. Across Earth's solar system, hidden sensors came online. Defense platforms powered up their systems. Communication arrays began scanning for alien signals. Humans had been planning for first contact since the early 21st century. Dr. Park Somi worked at her laboratory in Seoul. Her team had been developing translation protocols for decades. They had studied every form of mathematics and science, looking for universal languages that any intelligent species would understand. We have signal patterns, she told Admiral Na-yoon over the secure channel. 3 distinct sources. They are trying to hide, but our new detection grid found them. The alien scholars did not know they had been discovered. They continued their observations, unaware that humans were now studying them. Commander Zeph noticed some strange behavior from the human stations. Their activity patterns have changed, he told the others. More ships are moving. More signals are being sent. Maybe they are reacting to the solar storm, Yila suggested. But Dr. Kale was more worried. His crystalline senses were sensitive to electromagnetic fields. Something had changed in the space around Earth. New energy patterns were appearing and disappearing. On Earth, Captain Lee Do-yoon received new orders. His heroic rescue had earned him a promotion and a new assignment. He was now part of the First Contact Team, a secret group that had trained for alien encounters. We know they are watching us, Admiral Na-yoon told him during a private briefing. Our job is to learn about them while they think they are learning about us. Engineer Kim Tae-won had been working on the problem for weeks. His sensors showed the alien ship was using advanced stealth technology, but human computers were getting better at finding hidden patterns. I think I can track their movements, he told his team. Their engines leave tiny distortions in space-time. Very small, but our quantum sensors can detect them. The humans began. A careful game. They acted normal while secretly preparing for contact. Military ships moved into position. Scientists prepared communication equipment. Diplomats studied every piece of data about the alien observers. Dr. Park Somi made a breakthrough in understanding alien technology. By analyzing the energy signatures, she determined that their visitors used 3 different types of propulsion systems. 3 different species, she reported, working together. This is not just exploration. This is a formal study mission. Admiral Naeun smiled grimly. Humans had faced challenges before. They had survived ice ages, plagues, wars, and disasters. Now they faced their greatest challenge yet, proving they belonged among the stars. Let them watch, she decided. Let them learn about us. But we will be learning about them too. The alien scholars continued their observations, not knowing that every scan they made was being detected. Every signal they sent was being analyzed. Every movement of their ship was being tracked. Humans had turned the observation into a mutual study. The Watchers had become the Watched. Captain Do-hyun prepared his crew for whatever came next. Engineer Kim refined his detection systems. Dr. Park worked on communication protocols. Admiral Naeun coordinated the global response. Humanity was about to make first contact, but they would do it on their own terms. Professor Yila Morveth had made a terrible mistake. In her desire to understand human culture, she had accessed their entertainment networks. What she found there would haunt her dreams for cycles to come. She floated in her water chamber aboard, the enlightened pursuit reviewing thousands of human stories. Movies, books, games, and shows filled her screens. At first, she thought she was looking at historical records, then she realized the truth. These were fantasies, human imagination. "Dr. Kale," she called, her voice trembling. "You need to see this." Kale's crystal form moved to her workstation. His light dimmed as he read the files she had collected. Story after story showed humans conquering galaxies. They fought alien empires. They explored unknown worlds. They turned entire star systems into their homes. "This is their entertainment?" he asked. "Yes," Yila whispered. "They create these stories for fun. But look at the details." She showed him a human movie about space war. The humans in the story faced impossible odds against alien invaders. They were outnumbered 1,000 to 1. Their weapons were weaker. Their ships were slower. They won anyway. "See how they think," Yila explained. "They do not imagine peaceful contact. They imagine conflict, and they always imagine themselves winning." Kale studied more files. Human games let players control vast space empires. They could research new technologies, build massive fleets, and conquer alien worlds. Millions of humans played these games every day. "They are training," he realized with horror. Every game teaches strategy. Every movie shows tactics. Every book explores the psychology of conquest. Commander Zeph joined them at the workstation. His compound eyes processed the data streams quickly. What he saw made his mandibles click rapidly with fear. "Look at this pattern," he said, pointing to a game analysis. "Humans always choose the most aggressive expansion paths. They do not wait. They do not negotiate. They explore, they expand, they exploit." The 3 aliens studied human entertainment for days. The patterns became clear. Humans did not just imagine meeting other species. They imagined dominating them, not through cruelty, but through superiority. In human stories, aliens were always less clever, less adaptable, less determined than humans. Even when aliens had better technology, humans found ways to win. They used cunning, courage, and sacrifice to overcome any advantage. "They have written thousands of scenarios," Yila said. "Every possible first contact situation, every type of alien species, every kind of conflict." Dr. Kale accessed human military networks. What he found was worse than their entertainment. Human armies studied their own fictional scenarios. They created training programs based on imaginary alien invasions. They have plans, he told the others. Detailed strategies for fighting enemies they have never met. The files showed human preparations for space warfare. They had designed weapons for different types of alien biology, sonic weapons for species with sensitive hearing, electromagnetic pulses for mechanical beings, chemical weapons for various atmospheric needs. How do they know? Zeph asked. How do they predict exactly what would hurt us? But the horror grew deeper as they studied human biology again. Dr. Kyle had thought he understood their hunting nature. Now he realized how wrong he had been. Humans were not just persistence hunters. They were the ultimate predators. Look at their evolutionary path, he said, showing new data. They survived every extinction event not by hiding or adapting slowly. They survived by becoming more dangerous. The fossil records told a terrifying story. When climate changed, humans learned to control fire. When prey became scarce, they learned to hunt in coordinated groups. When other predators threatened them, they developed tools and weapons. They never adapted to their environment, Kale whispered. They made their environment adapt to them. Professor Yila discovered something even worse. She had been studying human communication networks. The internet connected billions of humans instantly. They shared information, coordinated activities, and solved problems together, but they remained individuals. This should be impossible, she told the others. Hive minds lose creativity. Individual minds cannot coordinate at scale, but humans do both. She showed them examples. When disasters struck human cities, millions of people organized rescue efforts within hours. They did not wait for governments or leaders. They just acted together, as if they shared one mind. But each human still thought differently. They argued, disagreed, and competed with each other. This conflict actually made them stronger, forcing them to constantly improve their ideas. They are a collective of individuals, Yila said. The worst possible combination. Commander Zeph made the final discovery that broke their remaining hope. He had been analyzing human space technology. Their rockets were primitive compared to alien science, but their rate of improvement was terrifying. In 50 years, they went from first spaceflight to permanent space stations, he reported. Their technology advancement is accelerating exponentially. He showed them the trajectory. Human space capabilities doubled every few years. At this rate, they would have interstellar travel within decades, not centuries. But that is not the worst part, Zeph continued. Look at their research methods. Humans did not develop technology slowly and carefully like other species. They built prototypes quickly, tested them to failure, then improved the design. They learned from disasters and mistakes. Failure made them advance faster, not slower. They treat setbacks as learning opportunities, he said. Every failure teaches them something new. They cannot be stopped by normal means. The alien scholars sat in their ship, surrounded by data that painted a picture of galactic doom. Humans were not just another species reaching for the stars. They were a force of nature that consumed challenges and grew stronger. Dr. Kyle's crystal form flickered with despair. We have found a species that never gives up. They adapt to anything. They treat the entire universe as their territory. Professor Yila's gills moved frantically as she processed the implications. They do not just survive. They excel in conditions that would kill other species. They thrive on conflict and competition. Commander Zeph's antennae drooped with defeat. They are already preparing to meet us. While we studied them, they were studying us. They have plans for species they have never seen. The three aliens looked at each other with growing terror. They had come to study a primitive civilization. Instead, they had found the galaxy's future dominant species, and humanity did not even know they existed yet. The thought of what would happen when humans discovered galactic civilization filled them with dread. These were not beings who would ask permission to join the community of worlds. They were beings who would improve it, protect it, and ultimately reshape it in their own image. The galaxy was about to change forever. Director Wu Jihoon sat in his research station high above Earth's atmosphere. The morning shift had just begun when his sensors detected something that changed everything. An energy signature unlike anything in human databases appeared on his screens. Finally, he said quietly to himself. For 30 years, Wu had worked on the Deep Space Monitoring Project. His job was to watch for signs of alien life. Most people thought his work was a waste of time. They were wrong. He opened a communication channel and began transmitting, not to Earth, to the alien ship hiding behind Jupiter's moon Europa. The message was simple: mathematical sequences that showed humans understood basic physics, prime numbers that proved intelligence. Then something more complex, 17 different ways to express the same equation, each using a different logical framework. Aboard the Enlightened Pursuit, alarms began ringing. "They are broadcasting directly at us," Dr. Kale said, his crystal form pulsing with panic. "How do they know our location?" Professor Yilla's gills flapped rapidly as she analyzed the transmission. "This is not random contact. Look at these mathematical structures. They are showing us they understand multiple forms of logic." Commander Zeph studied the signal patterns. His worst fears were confirmed. "This is not first contact. This is proof they have been preparing for us. On Earth, Colonel Bei Hyeran received the alert in her underground command center. The first contact protocol was now active. She had trained for this moment since joining the military 20 years ago. "All units, condition amber," she broadcast to secret bases around the world. "The visitors have been detected. Initiate defense. Posture 3. Her screens filled with data as hidden weapons came online. Orbital platforms powered up their targeting systems. Underground bunkers opened their doors. Ships disguised as cargo vessels revealed their true nature. But these were not normal weapons. Each system had been designed for specific types of alien biology that humans had never encountered. Colonel Bay walked through the weapons storage area, checking inventory. Sonic disruptors for beings with sensitive hearing organs, electromagnetic, pulse devices for silicon-based life forms, gravity distortion fields for species adapted to different planetary masses. "How did we know to build these?" asked her aide, Lieutenant Nam Sun-woo. "We didn't know," Bay replied. "We guessed. Then we built weapons for every guess." The truth was more disturbing than even her aide realized. Human military planners had spent decades imagining alien threats. They created fictional species with different weaknesses, then developed weapons to exploit those weaknesses. Pure human imagination had accidentally created real solutions. Dr. An Minho worked in a different kind of laboratory. His job was understanding alien psychology. While other humans built weapons, he built profiles of how alien minds might work. His computers contained personality models for dozens of theoretical alien species. Each model predicted how different types of beings would think, react, and behave in various situations. "Sir," his assistant said, reviewing the data from the alien ship, "the psychological patterns match our Profile 7 almost perfectly." An smiled grimly. Profile 7 described a species of cautious, scholarly observers who valued knowledge over action. His team had predicted such beings would study other species from a safe distance before making contact. "Activate Response Plan 7 Alpha, he ordered. "Let them think they are still hidden while we gather intelligence." Aboard the alien ship, Dr. Kale was discovering the true scope of human preparation. Their simple mathematical message had been just the beginning. Now humans were transmitting more complex information. Star charts showing their knowledge of local galactic geography, periodic tables that revealed their understanding of universal chemistry, even basic translations of what appeared to be alien language structures. "They have been deciphering our communications," he realized. "For how long?" Commander Zeph's analysis showed the terrifying answer. "Based on these translations, they have been intercepting our signals since we arrived. Every transmission, every scan, every data exchange. The aliens had thought they were studying humans in secret. In reality, humans had been studying them for months. Professor Yila made an even worse discovery. Human computers had not just intercepted their communications. They had broken their encryption codes. "They are reading our private reports," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "Everything we have learned about them, they now know we know." The alien scholars realized they were no longer observers. They had become specimens in a human study. On Earth, Director Wu began the next phase of contact. He transmitted detailed information about human civilization, population numbers, technological capabilities, cultural values, and political structures. But he also included something else: human questions about galactic civilization. The aliens received queries about interstellar law, trade relationships, and diplomatic protocols. Humans wanted to know about galactic government, military structures, and economic systems. They are not asking for permission to join galactic society, Commander Zeph realized. They are asking for operational parameters. Dr. Kale studied the human questions with growing dread. These were not the inquiries of a primitive species seeking guidance. They were the strategic assessments of a power preparing to engage as an equal. Colonel Bay's team had been busy during the first contact. Transmissions. Human ships moved throughout the solar system, taking positions that appeared random but followed careful strategic planning. "The aliens think we have 12 ships," she told her staff. "We actually have 47. The others are hidden or disguised." Lieutenant Nam looked confused. "Why hide our numbers? Shouldn't we show strength?" "Because," Bay explained, "in negotiation, unknown capabilities create uncertainty. Uncertainty creates caution. Caution gives us time to learn about them before they fully understand us." Dr. On's psychological profiles were proving accurate. The alien scholars were responding exactly as his models predicted. They were curious but fearful, intelligent but indecisive. "They will try to withdraw soon," he told Colonel Bay. "Profile 7 indicates they will want to report to higher authorities before proceeding." "Can we stop them from leaving?" she asked. "We don't need to stop them," On replied. "We just need to make sure they take the right message back to their people." Director Wu began transmitting the final part of his contact package. Videos of human achievements, art, and culture, images of cities, families, and celebrations, music that showed human creativity and emotion. But he also included something that would haunt the alien observers: footage of human disaster response. The aliens watched humans coordinate massive rescue operations after earthquakes. They saw people risk their lives to save strangers during floods. They witnessed entire nations mobilized to help distant regions struck by natural disasters. "They treat every human as valuable," Professor Yila said, watching the footage. "Even strangers, even enemies." The videos showed something more disturbing. Humans had protocols for every type of emergency. They had plans for asteroid impacts, supervolcano eruptions, and global climate changes. They even had strategies for alien invasion. "They have contingency plans for threats that do not exist yet," Dr. Kale observed. Commander Zeph made the connection that terrified them all. If they plan for imaginary threats, how much planning have they done for real ones, like us? The alien scholars realized that humanity had not just detected them by accident. Humans had been systematically searching for alien life. They had built sensor networks specifically designed to find hidden watchers. First contact was not a surprise encounter. It was the successful conclusion of a human hunting expedition. The prey had found the predators. Ambassador Song Yujin stepped out of her ship onto the crystal platform of Nexus Prime, the capital world of the Galactic Consortium. 6 months had passed since first contact, and everything had changed. She carried no weapons. Her small escort wore simple diplomatic uniforms. But the alien delegates who met her moved with nervous energy. They had heard the reports from Dr. Kale's team. They knew what humans were capable of. "Welcome to our community," said Chancellor Vex Torin of the Hegemony Council. His tentacles writhed with barely controlled anxiety. "We hope for peaceful relations." Song smiled warmly. "We come seeking friendship and cooperation. Humanity has much to offer our galactic neighbors." What she did not say was that humans had already been helping those neighbors for months. The first crisis had come just weeks after contact. The Thalrin colony worlds were dying from a plague that their scientists could not cure. Traditional, galactic medicine had failed. The entire aquatic species faced extinction. Dr. Park Somi had solved the problem in 11 days. Working from samples sent by desperate Thalrin physicians, her team identified the pathogen as a modified virus. It attacked the breathing organs that allowed Thalrin to process both water and air. The human solution was elegant and simple. They created a modified version of an Earth bacteria that ate the virus without harming Thalrin biology. The cure spread through their population like a beneficial infection. "How did they solve this so quickly?" Chancellor Torin had asked Dr. Kale during the emergency session. "They approached it differently," Kale had replied. "Instead of fighting the virus, they found something that would consume it. They turned the problem into food for a solution." The second crisis had tested human military capabilities. Pirates from the Void clans had been raiding trade routes for decades. Galactic forces could not catch them because the pirates knew all. The patrol patterns. Fleet Admiral Nam Sunwoo had ended the pirate threat in 3 weeks. Human ships did not follow predictable routes. They appeared randomly throughout the affected space, using navigation methods that confused pirate sensors. When the raiders attacked what they thought was a cargo vessel, they found a disguised warship instead. The pirates surrendered after losing half their fleet to ships they never saw coming. "Humans do not fight the way we expect," Admiral Corvin of the Chitrak Empire had observed. "They used deception as a primary weapon." But it was the third crisis that truly revealed human nature to the galaxy. The broken worlds were dying. 7. Planets in the outer rim had lost their ability to support life after a stellar accident. Billions of beings faced slow starvation as their ecosystems collapsed. Galactic Consortium resources could not save them. The distance was too great, the population too large, the time too short. Dr. Jian Minji had volunteered humanity for the impossible task. "We can save them," she told the emergency assembly, "but we will need cooperation from every species." Her plan was audacious. Human terraforming technology was primitive compared to alien science. But humans thought about problems differently. Instead of trying to repair 7 broken worlds, they would move the population to new ones. Humans provided the coordination and logistics. The Hegemony contributed their teleportation technology. The Chitrak Empire supplied construction fleets. The Thalrin offered their deep space navigation skills. Working together, the combined effort relocated 3 billion beings to new homes in just 4 months. "Humans do not just solve problems," Chancellor Torin observed. "They organize entire civilizations to solve problems." Now, 6 months later, Ambassador Song stood in the consortium assembly hall. Representatives from dozens of species filled the chamber. They had gathered to vote on humanity's membership application. The debate had been intense. Some delegates feared human ambition. Others worried about human military capabilities. A few questioned whether such a young species could contribute meaningfully to galactic civilization. Song listened to their concerns with patience. When her time came to speak, she did not defend humanity. Instead, she offered a gift. "We bring you solutions to 3 problems that have plagued this assembly for centuries," she said. The first solution addressed the resource shortage that limited galactic expansion. Human mining techniques could extract useful materials from previously worthless asteroids and dead worlds. The second solution resolved the communication delays that hampered interspecies coordination. Human quantum networking protocols could link distant worlds in real-time networks. The third solution was the most remarkable. Humans had created a universal translation system that worked for any species, including those not yet discovered. How? Is this possible? Asked Representative Yalth of the Silicon Confederation. We assumed every possible form of intelligence, Song explained. Then we built translation frameworks for each assumption. When we meet new species, we just select the appropriate framework. The Assembly voted unanimously to accept humanity into the Galactic Consortium. But Song was not finished. We also request permission to establish the Terran Defense Initiative, she said. Fleet Admiral Nam had arrived that morning with a small fleet of human ships. They were not warships in the traditional sense. They were mobile response platforms designed to help any world facing disaster. The galaxy is vast and dangerous, Song explained. Many worlds lack the resources to defend themselves against natural disasters, pirate raids, or hostile invasion. We offer our protection to any who request it. The alien delegates looked at each other with wonder and fear. Humans were not asking to join galactic civilization. They were asking to become its guardians. Dr. Kale, Professor Yila, and Commander Zeph watched the proceedings from the observation deck. Their fear had transformed into something else. Hope. They are not conquerors, Yila said quietly. They are protectors. But protectors of what? Zeph asked. Kale's crystal form pulsed with new understanding. Of everything. They see the entire galaxy as their community, not their territory, but their responsibility. 3 months later, the transformation was visible throughout the galaxy. Human response teams worked alongside alien specialists on dozens of worlds. They fought pirates, stopped plagues, and prevented natural disasters. Children of different species played together on worlds where humans had established cultural exchange programs. Scientists shared discoveries through human-built communication networks. Artists collaborated on projects that combined the creativity of multiple species. Dr. John Minji walked through the gardens of New Harmony, a world where 5 different species lived together in the first truly integrated galactic community. Human, Thalrin, Kytrak, Hegemony, and Silicon children chased each other through the carefully designed ecosystem. How did we do this? Asked her aide, watching a human child teach alien youngsters how to play a simple game. We treated them like family, Gion replied. Humans have always been good at adopting others into our tribes. The alien scholars had been right to fear humanity, but they had been wrong about what to fear. They had feared conquest and destruction. Instead, they found integration and improvement. Humanity had not taken over the galaxy. They had taken care of it. Dr. Kyle now worked at the Human-Alien Cooperation Institute on Earth. His job was to help other species understand human thinking. What had once terrified him now filled him with wonder. They see potential where we see problems, he explained to a group of new alien researchers. They see opportunities where we see obstacles. They see family where we see strangers. Professor Yila had established the first cross-species university on Thalrin Prime. Students from across the galaxy came to learn human problem-solving methods. The curriculum included courses in creative thinking, crisis management, and cooperative leadership. Humans taught us that intelligence is not just about knowledge, she told her students. It is about using knowledge to help others. Commander Zeph commanded a joint species peacekeeping force. Human tactical methods had revolutionized galactic military doctrine. Instead of preparing for war, they prepared for peacemaking. The greatest weapon, he often said, is the ability to turn enemies into allies. The galaxy was indeed changing, just as the alien scholars had predicted. But the change was not conquest or domination. It was evolution. Humanity had introduced something new to galactic civilization. The idea that every species was valuable, every world was worth protecting, and every being deserved a chance to reach their potential. The galaxy had found its guardians, and the guardians were very good at their job.